Now joining us is Mike Lyons, CBS News military analyst. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Mary.
It's a messy situation. It sounds like it's getting even messier.
It is. It is getting messier.
Now, President Assad says that Russia is providing him with weapons. He's saying that. We don't know if that's the case, but if it is the case, what sort of impact could this have?
The S-300 anti-ballistic missile would be game-changing for the region.
Okay.
It would give Syria both an offensive capability and a defensive capability to protect itself from Israel, or in particular a no-fly zone. One of the things the United States does is implement no-fly zones in these kinds of areas to protect civilians. Well, this would be a much more difficult situation. U.S. planes would be at risk, likely shot down by a very complex anti-ballistic air defense system.
Let's talk a little bit about this S-300 air defense system. He was very vague about whether he has it or whether he doesn't have it, a component of it. Tell us what it is exactly.
It consists of three elements. It has the missiles that actually fires from mobile transport pods. It has a radar system that's very sophisticated, can track simultaneous targets both at the same time while firing. And it also has a command center, an FDC, a fire direction center. You take those three components, you have the whole system. Usually it's shipped in different components, different parts. It's not necessarily all put together at once, and it does take time to assemble, and it does take some training. You'll see Russian soldiers training Syrians on the systems. It's likely months before it's actually fully deployed.
Okay, so if he has it, it's not like tomorrow we'll start seeing it in action or anything like that.
No, but clearly the clock has started with regard to this capability, and look for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. 12 months clearly, I've done by then. But the bottom line is, once it's deployed, it's very easy. It can be set up and operated within 5 or 10 minutes.
The other thing that President Assad said was that if Israel strikes again, he will retaliate. Is this hot air? Do you really think he would do it?
Right now it is. I'm not sure he's got that capability to kind of pierce the Israeli anti-defense forces, either from the sky or from the ground. But I think that rhetoric will be backed up once he has this anti-ballistic system up and running. Because what he'll be able to do, he'll be able to come 125 miles inside of Israel. He deploys this system at the Syrian border. It goes over the horizon, can deploy inside of Israel and attack Israeli planes on the tarmac as they're taking off while they're potentially attacking Syria.
Now, Israel said when they shot missiles last time that they were trying to stop a delivery of arms to Hezbollah. Now we see Hezbollah fighting alongside government forces in larger numbers than before.
The new number is 7,000. That's a large amount of troops that are fighting alongside, and they're really tipping the balance in the favor of the Assad government. You've got the rebels asking for desperate help right now from the EU, from the Americans, to come in, supply weapons, supply materials in order to tip the balance back. The Hezbollah is clearly making a difference right now in that theater of operations, and the question is how much longer they can continue to do that.
You know, we talk about how desperate the situation is and how messy it is, and there's been a lot of discussion with Russia trying to influence them. What do you think the situation is? What's going on with Russia? What are their interests?
Countries act in their own best interest, and Russia right now is doing just that. It's the last toehold they have in that region. Should they not be aligned with the regime in Syria, then they're out fundamentally of all those countries that exist in the Middle East. They no longer exert influence over Iraq. They never had it in any of those other regions there. So going back to the former Soviet Union, long-standing relationships, there's naval ports, goods and services are shipped between Russia and Syria, and I think knowing full well if the Assad government falls, Russia loses that connection.
Right, and here you have a region that's clearly in flux. We really don't know how things are going to shape up in 10 years from now, and I guess everyone wants to be a part of that.
That's right. Russia still wants to exert influence, trade goods and services, wants to understand, material that's coming out of Syria in this regard, doesn't want to lose face within the world. So by shipping these missiles to Syria, if they've done that, they've really notched it up, made game-changing the situation there. The Assad government now is in a much better position if they've done it.
Mike Lyons, CBS News military analyst, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.